Hey Matt, how are
Hey,
you, man?
good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I am stoked to be talking to you about this movie. To be honest, I've only seen 30 to 40 minutes of footage, but it was enough to get me hyped for the movie. So I am excited to be here. Actually, the last time we spoke was for Monarch: Legacy of Monsters,
Right.
and I tried to sneak in a question uh, about the casting and whatnot, but you professionally dodged it, which is why I'm happy right now to ask you a question around this cast because it's outstanding. From the footage that I saw, you can just see the chemistry is there, and you spoke about the importance of balancing heroism and humanity with these characters. What was the moment you knew Pedro, Vanessa, Joseph, and Evan were your Fantastic Four?
Yeah, casting is everything with the Fantastic Four. Both getting these characters right individually because they are tricky and complicated characters, but also getting that family right and that family dynamic right. Reed Richards is tricky. He has had many different sort of personas throughout the comics. Sometimes he's that nerdy scientist locked in the lab trying to solve everything, who's kind of 5 minutes away from destroying the planet or saving it at all times. Sometimes he's a person of action, a leader, leading the Avengers, jumping out into the fray. And then sometimes he's that devoted husband, that father, that family man, that best friend, right? And so I needed an actor who could encompass all those characters and bring all of those elements to life in one, because I knew that this film would require him to be all of those things. And Pedro is an actor of incredible range. Like I've known him personally my whole adult life, but I've also just been a fan of watching his work, and he has tremendous range, and he can do all of those things seemingly effortlessly. He's so sort of facile with his ability to kind of emotionally engage, to also sort of intellectually engage, and also be that person who's not afraid to jump into the fray and be a believable sort of person of action, which he's done. So I was looking for four actors like that, four actors with incredible range, four Swiss Army knives who had every tool in there. Vanessa Kirby, equally as badass in every way. Joe Quinn, Eben Moss-Bachrach. And then I was also just trying to sort of get that sense of like, would this be a good husband and wife? Would this be a good brother and sister? Do I believe these dynamics? And I did. I believed it in my gut that this would be a good group. But I also knew that great actors create great chemistry, and they do. And then I just wanted to build a sandbox that would allow for that to happen. So 3 weeks of rehearsal, diving into the history of these characters, diving into the script, playing around, improvising, figuring out our best way to sort of gel and bond and create the feeling that they are lived in characters who've known each other their whole lives.
Yeah, well, again, from the footage that I saw, it's already there. So the chemistry is there. They jumps out of the screen. You just feel that. I also learned that your daughter appears in this film,
Yeah.
which is such a special touch. Like, I have to know, what was it like having her to be part of this project? And as a father myself, were you nervous? Because I would be terribly nervous.
I was so nervous. I was a wreck. She was a cool customer. She was like, I got this. She does gymnastics. I put her on wires and all this, so she was completely
Yeah.
unfazed by up in the air. The hardest part of directing her was getting her not to smile as she was being spun around on these wires. And it was supposed to be this big moment of being saved, and she thought she was gonna be crushed by a big piece of concrete.
Right.
But she was wonderful. She nailed it. One or two takes. She was she a
Wow.
total
Good.
pro. But it was really wonderful. It was great. And her birth changed my life. Her birth was the most fantastic thing that's ever happened to me. And it was a big part of how, I approached this story. How does a baby change a couple? How does a baby change a family? It was about bringing as much of that personal experience into the film. So it was a lovely way to connect to that by having her actually in it. And her name is Maisie. And so also Maisie's Delicatessen on Yancey Street, where Ben buys his cookies, is also named after her. So
Wow.
there's a lot of Maisie in there.
Cool. That's amazing. I am so grateful for this time, Matt. Again, from the footage that we saw, this movie is everything that speaks volumes of your ability as a filmmaker and storyteller, and I can't wait to see the rest of it later this week. So thank you again for joining us on the Geekcentric podcast. It really means a lot, man.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.